Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica. I'm a singer-songwriter, and if you've never been here before, welcome. Basically, I just ramble about any topic that ever pops into my head, about healing from trauma or societal issues or sometimes politics. I used to try to avoid anything too heavy. Well, not true. Anything heavy outside of the self, like inner healing and inner work. But then, basically the modern day civil rights movement happened in June. And so some of these videos got a little more serious back then. Now I feel like it's kind of integrated. Sometimes I'll mention that stuff, but not too much. But mostly I am here to share with you my thoughts and feelings, and I would say, although it's weird, you're not maybe supposed to say this about yourself, but I am trying to share my wisdom that comes from like 20 years of, in my opinion, maybe I could call them tangents if I want to be loving towards myself. But you could also call them like bad choices and sort of getting to live out and experience the results of bad choices. Some of the bad choices were not even really my fault because I was so inadvertently conditioned from a young age to believe in certain things that didn't prove to be useful in my life. So like the ways that educational systems or family structures kind of inform who we end up becoming is something that I kind of talk a lot about. And, for instance, like a really, really rough generalization would be like how an educational system teaches children to squash their own natural flow, their natural timings. Like if they have questions, they're not supposed to ask them. If they're supposed, how to do the being a good student thing the right way. It doesn't have to do with their own natural nature. And so they learn how to like alter and contain and confine themselves inside themselves. And then at 18, they're expected to find that thing that they buried and figure out how to let it lead the way in some sort of adventurous, at the very least adventurous in the mind, adventurous in the creativity, in the dreaming of what they could be, like to be the next like Mark Zuckerberg. Not that that's what anyone wants to be, but if you wanted to be that, you would have to have an insanely strong sense of self, belief in self, visionary self. You would have to have so much self. A Mark Zuckerberg isn't created through following. It's not like you just sit around and say yes sir, yes ma'am, and then end up becoming like him. So it's just interesting. Or like Stan Lee, or anything. I could list Julia Cameron. I could list a million people who became really big versions of themselves and are still growing into themselves and evolving. Famous actors. It's not just about fame, but fame is a way of kind of measuring how bold someone is being and how loved they are being or how valued they are for their boldness. And so it's interesting. I don't believe in fame over non-fame, like clearly, because I have, hundreds, thousands of videos, songs, albums, and I'm not known. I just believe in doing, and I believe in expressing, and I believe in creating, and I believe in becoming yourself. And so my unknownness has actually been a comfort. It's like a little security blanket because I've been able to grow into who I actually am without much of the world watching. And that's a feeling of safety and self-preservation that's been nice and good for me as a trauma survivor. I talk a lot about being a trauma survivor. I have a whole series on that sort of called How to Become Your Authentic Self. And it's sort of my first time really putting into words what the process of becoming a more authentic version of myself felt like. And I kind of take you through the different aspects of where authenticity is needed to become more and more free inside yourself. Which is, I think, where most healing happens. The only place it really happens with others, I suppose, would be like forgiveness, but even that happens inside your own mind, inside your own being. So that's you visualizing a connection with those people and releasing them from whatever grasp you have on them in your mind. Which just lately I learned a whole new technique for from the book, The Secret, which is weird. I'm reading it at the same time as I'm reading the Bible, like certain parts of the Bible, and like this Bible for teen girls, which with my Arrested Development is actually really useful sometimes. There's sometimes things that go over my head because I kind of blocked myself through a lot of trauma in my teens. And so sometimes if I get things that are meant for teens, they like suddenly break through whatever clouds are in my mind that are blocking me from understanding things that some people seem to just get, and that I am kind of like a little thick about, dunce about. Anyway, but in The Secret, there was this concept. I think I've changed it since I read it, but I'll tell you the way that I've changed it, and it's been working for me the past couple days. So, okay. So I didn't realize that what I have... Oh, by the way, that was a really long introduction. I don't normally do introductions in my videos, but for some reason I felt compelled to, so hello. So, how to forgive people, and how to not lose your energy to people that you're struggling to forgive. Or how to not lose your energy to people that you're struggling to even like. Or how to not lose your energy to people you're trying to like block out of your experience and have boundaries with. Especially when they just keep seeming to be attracted to you. What's that about? So this new trick that's been really helping me, I want to give it to you because I think it's helpful. So for a long time, I have felt like I am very light, a light being. Like light as in when I spend a lot of time alone, I feel very buoyant. I feel very free. I feel very flowy. I feel a lot of trust, even when dark things come out of my mouth. I feel trust that that's all guiding me in the right direction. I feel a lot of connection to the universe, to God. I feel a lot of channeling, a lot of wisdom just pouring through me that isn't mine. I feel a lot of arrogance sometimes if I get stuck on these things and if they make me think I'm like better somehow. That's really bad, and that gets me stuck, and then I start falling down black holes in my mind, and don't go there. So I don't go there. But because we're all beings of light, we all have like light in our eyes. It's like spirit. It's like it's that feeling, you know, playing a board game with a kid, or it's like that feeling of like being out on a walk and it's sunny and you just feel great for no reason. It's that feeling. And I noticed that the more I did trauma healing, and I'm talking the artist's way, I'm talking therapy, I'm talking 12-step groups, I'm talking forgiveness work, I'm talking like constant for like a decade. And I don't necessarily recommend that, and that's in another video. So, I don't know, maybe Google search my name, Jessica in the Rainbow, and then any word you're curious about. Forgiveness, trauma healing. I probably put it in the title, and you'll probably hear me ramble about that. But that's not what this one's about. So now, you know, after all that inner work, I feel lucky to be someone who feels light. Like a lot lighter. Lighter physically, like, woo, yay, life is fun, and like dancing in the kitchen and just like, woo, woo, woo. So I feel lucky for that feeling, but I also just feel like a radiance inside of me that's not mine, but I get to use it, or I get to borrow it, or I get to have it, or I get to share it. And my Achilles heel lately, the last few years, has been whenever I've been in a place where I think that light is actually a liability, like it's unwanted. Either maybe it's envied, or it's found to be annoying, or it's found to be weird because it's unnatural to some people, because it can come off like an abundance of energy. It can come off like wanting to hug everyone. It's often liked, I'll be fair. But sometimes I would feel like I needed to put it out. So what that started causing in my life is this feeling of like, say you're like a little ball of sun or light or a star, you know, just go with me. It's just a metaphor. But if you're this visual, this idea of a little seed of light, because we all are, I think, or we all have light in us or around us. I think it might be different. There might be a yin-yang quality to that, like a seed of darkness with a fortress of light, or like a seed of light with a fortress of dark. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's just a vision I had one time. Kind of like those little fish-looking swirls with the seeds in them on the yin-yang symbol. But it was very clear in a vision once, and I think we might be different in that way. And some of us wear our light on the outside and hide our darkness or protect it, and some of us wear our darkness on the outside but secretly have a true seed of light on the inside. And it's all the same. But anyway, I focus on the light because the light is where my joy comes from, and the light is light because there is dark. Like, you can't know that it's light if you don't have dark in contrast to it. But that does not mean that you have to love dark equally. Like, if all was light, then light wouldn't exist. We wouldn't know what light is. Light just would be what is. Isness would be it. Like, if God is the great I am, and if that I am is light, and if nothing else existed, then that I amness, there would have been no creation. There would be no existence. It would just be the I am, which is light, it's just done. There's the beginning and the end, there's no contrast. But dark is like the emptiness, and then light. I mean, we know what light is by the fact that dark exists. But that doesn't mean, and you can go watch Law of Attraction videos for that if you want, but they've helped me. Abraham Hicks, surprisingly, is very helpful. Even if you think it's really weird or you don't believe it, it's still helpful concepts. I think that there's goodness in dark, like there's usefulness in dark. But that's the same way as saying that God can take a horrible, tragic event in your life and help you find the good in it, or that, that you can grow through something and gain wisdom even though it was a traumatic experience. That's what a lot of my life has been. But that doesn't make the traumatic events good in the sense that I would choose them again. So dark, I guess there can be light found in the dark, which goes back to that yin-yang thing, but that doesn't make the dark good. It's just that some of the horrific things I've lived through, like, and I bring it back to me because I don't really want to dredge up your trauma for you, but like, I've lived through really, really violent things, societally, physically, to myself, to my body, and I don't want to live through any of those things again. Those were dark. And my experiences, they were a time of darkness when I had not enough wisdom to choose to move away from those places where those things were happening. And it was because I was stuck in a thought process and a philosophy that was trying to see equal goodness or equal value in both light and dark. And I think if the value of dark is that it provides contrast to light, and when people go to therapy with depression, if what they're seeking is relief from depression, then you can't say that both depression and relief from depression have equal value in terms of equal wantedness. Depression does not have an equal wantedness to relief from depression. Dark does not have an equal wantedness to light. And then you could get into talking about nighttime and moons and ceremonies, but like, moon is light, stars are light. Like, like, we're talking pitch blackness here. We're talking complete unknowing. How many people do you know really want complete unknowing, utter confusion? I just spent a lot of my years watching people in the throes of their trauma and the results of it, behaving in abusive and toxic ways, and believing that I needed to be nice to them not just because they are people who deserved love. Yes, they deserve love, but if their behavior is toxic towards you, get away. You are not God. You are not a savior. You do not have to be the nicest person on the planet and make them feel a little less bad than their horrible bad feelings they're feeling right now. You can't save people in that way by going with them down into the black hole. You can't. You just get pulled apart and ripped to shreds until you don't have light anymore. Or that's what happened to me. So, sorry, backstory. So, back to the current. The current is I learned this cool new technique where I didn't even realize. So say I'm a ball of light. Just go with me. And if you visualize yourself as like a cute little ball of light, like a little sprite, like a little sun, like a little star, if you can see that, and that really feels like you, whether it's yours as the seed or whether it's the big outer protection shell, kind of doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter which one you identify with. We all have light in us or around us, right? And if you feel all that light, and then say you see someone who's super, 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 super depressed, and when you look at them, you identify in your mind with their depressedness, that makes you suddenly stop focusing on your own light and focus on your own dark instead. And if you stay in that and you think that that helps them to stay in the darkness while you look at them, well, first of all, if you just join them in the dark, like I already said, that's going into the black hole. But if you stay in the dark, but you try to get back to your light, but you can't help it because while you're looking at their darkness and their depression and their sorrow or their anger and aggression, because those are my big triggers, is witnessing people's anger and aggression. And if you see that and that reminds you of your own dark places and you can't help but keep going back and resonating with those dark places while you're looking at their dark places, I used to start feeling resentment. Like, and then I'd try to put up a boundary because I'd be like, I don't want to look at you. I don't want to see your anger and aggression, and I don't want to be reminded that that kind of darkness is all around me in the world, and why is that darkness even attracted to me? I'm clearly not trying to attract it, but whenever I would witness it, I would lose my light instantly and go back to my dark feelings. And when I say dark feelings, I don't mean I would act angry and aggressive, although ironically I would feel anger, which for me was just frustration, at having to witness that anger and aggression. So it is like I became angry and aggressive, it's just in like a Muppety way. You know, or I became frustrated that I had to look at it. That's still anger, you know. So for me, for a long time, I had, if I imagine a ball of light, like I said, outside or inside seed doesn't matter, but it's like it had holes in it, like a sieve. And anytime something came along and reminded me of the dark thing, I poured my own darkness out at people. So if I was feeling like light, but if I saw somebody who maybe was attracted to any of that light, but in their darkness they reminded me of darkness, then I literally feel like not verbally, never out loud, but energetically, definitely. I sent accidental negative vibes out at those people. A lot. Like so much it's insane, because I enjoyed the feelings of buoyancy and light that I felt when I was alone or with people who didn't cause that from me. And so my world got smaller and smaller and smaller, like a tight little, you know. But then, you know, I couldn't tolerate being around anyone with any negativity. And we all have negativity. So I thought then the solution was boundaries, like just, you know, like glass wall or like imaginary barbed wire, and imagining floodlights on the barbed wire, like blasting out at them, like, get away, I'm blocking myself from your negativity. And guess what? That was fake for me. It didn't work. And the reason it was fake for me was because while I was trying to visualize this like boundary around me, because they say you need boundaries in therapy, and you know, so I'm like trying to make up my own ways to like visualize it, because I'm like, how can I put a boundary up from that so I'm not always rocked like a tiny little boat on an ocean of scary, scary people with feelings. Every time I see somebody or hear about somebody's anything, having to like unfollow all these people who were, you know, going through ordinary everyday things that were emotional for them. And it was like, everybody was bringing me down. And I was like, this is crazy. Why am I only happy when I'm alone or with like 4 or 5 people or like kids, but only if they're in a good mood? You know, it was just like, this is too much. So I started working on boundaries, and the boundaries worked a little bit, but also didn't work. And it definitely didn't work with anyone with strong emotions, because it would feel too fake. I know I'm making this a really long story, but I'm getting to the point. So then, dun, dun, dun. So then I was reading The Secret. And The Secret's really helpful, but you have to like really believe it for it to work. So if you suddenly go like, wait a minute, this isn't working, then of course it won't work. Like, that's the whole point. So, you know, good luck. But I've had a magical mind for a long time, and I think it comes from having a really strong faith in God and a really strong, like, communicative kind of life with God, where I feel a lot of dialogue, or at least that's what comes through my songs. Like when I was 9, I told my mom I was Beethoven reincarnated, and now as I'm an adult, I can really kind of believe in the possibility of that, because a lot of the things that I've wrestled with in my life are things that they say Beethoven complained about when he was older, about like not getting recognition and doing all this work. I just read a quote when Moonlight Sonata became one of his famous ones. I read a quote from him. Sorry, Beethoven. But like, where like he said, like, surely I've written better things than this. Like, he was irritated that he got famous for not his best work. And it's just like, that is the kind of crap I would think. You know, like, oh, yeah, I was successful for this thing, but that wasn't my true mission, or that wasn't my true passion, and really my style is that, you know. And it's just, I had a lot of little thoughts like that that were really holding me back, and I've been trying to let them go and admit them and work on them. And, you know, giftedness is a weird thing if it's nurtured when you're really young, and you just start to feel like it's normal, and you start to feel like it's like almost like a birthright. And I never, ever, ever meant to feel that way. It's just people resonated with me like crazy when I was a kid. And then, you know, that fed into like school-wide concerts of my original songs as young as 5th grade. So like 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, like tons of concerts of my original music. And it came for some sad reasons, but that's in another video. But a friend who passed away. But anyway, but it came for other reasons too, like writing the 5th grade graduation song and getting a bunch of my peers to sing 4-part harmony and being in charge of all that by 5th grade. Like, it wasn't good for me socially. That's in a bunch of videos too. Anyway, but my point is, I'm trying to get more honest about my darkness without giving it power. But it gives it power to say it out loud, so I've got to stop saying it out loud. Anyway, back to the light thing. So, don't watch my videos for, like, you know, quick tips, because that's just not me. I don't know how to edit. These are just kind of floaty, meandering little things, kind of like my songs are. So anyway, back to the story. I basically read something that made me realize what I wasn't doing was the thing that I was the most sad about, the thing that was causing my own darkness to exacerbate when I was around other people's darkness, or around other people's giving into anger, frustration, self-pity. Self-pity is one of my biggest triggers, and the other one is trying to fit in. I just recently drew a drawing about that. Ooh, I have it. So, long story short, I realized I wasn't wishing people the best. I mean, that's straight up in the Bible. It's everywhere. I wasn't wishing for people to have what I wanted for myself. If what I want for myself is to feel that fullness and that light of God and that feeling of pure love, then whenever a negative behaving person came in my view, why was I not focusing all of my energy against these draining negative thoughts, and instead focusing all my energy on wishing that they could have this full light experience, this full, buoyant, joyous light experience? And the weird thing is that reading that in the Bible never got through to me. Reading it in The Secret got through to me, because there was some way that they said it that involved visualization. And so now whenever I think of certain people that I know are chronically angry, or, you know, pissed off or complain about everything, like when I see them, when their name comes in my head or I see something that reminds me of them and I start to get kind of negative, like I'm frustrated that they behave that way around me or just that they behave that way, you know, I immediately know, I like see them like in my mind, like light, like almost bright white, like a vibrant being of light, and I see them happy and like bouncing and jumping or like singing or skipping or smiling or doing whatever thing brings them like the deepest joy I've ever seen them have, even if I've never seen them have it. And when I actually visualize it, like I couldn't do it in the Bible way because I didn't think about that sentence clearly enough, that we're supposed to love others the way we want to be loved, or we're supposed to, it's not about like just doing stuff for them. I don't want people to just come over to my house and start doing stuff for me. That's weird. Like if I'm hurting, sure, like in a crisis, but that's not like, and plus I was too focused on the opposite side of that equation. Like, oh my gosh, like I went through years where it was like, I'm giving, whether it was like likes or congratulating people or giving people opportunities and they weren't giving them back. And I got really focused in that self-pity way on other people not doing for me what I was doing for them. And then I got resentful. But again, that's like a whole, if you picture like a ball of light, it's like I was Swiss cheese. Like that's a hole for my energy to just leak out anytime I thought of those people. Like, wow, that person sure didn't return any favors. That's horrible. Like, how is that a light being? How is that kind? How is that vibrant and alive? How is that loving? How is that godlike? How is that any of those things? Like, it is just living inside resentment. And the thing is, I know from personal experience now firsthand that it feels unavoidable. Because I was trying to heal and move through that. I knew it was wrong. But my problem was a lack of knowledge. I didn't know that by then talking about it, like with my sister, for instance, and trying to address it and figure it out, I was nursing it. I was making the hole in the Swiss cheese bigger because I was giving it so much attention. So, yeah, read The Secret, read the Bible, but maybe just, you know, the highlights because it's really long. But Jesus' words kind of talk about that, and so does The Secret, and so do a lot of things. Like, I will say I used to really read, like, well, I'll say it. I don't like spreading darkness, but I'm trying to clarify something from my own past. But I used to promote, like, the power of now and a new earth. But I believe that Eckhart Tolle kind of went the other way. He went into a void, like into a darkness. He describes it. And he killed his ego and became nothing. And I actually think that God and law of attraction are actually talking about the opposite. The Bible, law of attraction, are actually talking about the opposite. They're not talking about become nothing. Kill your own ego, kill your own storyline. It's the opposite. Take your storyline and live it to its fullest abundance by asking, believing it will be given, and then receiving it. Like, that's literally what it says for the Bible, and it's what The Secret says, and it's what all law of attraction videos, Abraham Hicks stuff, any of that, that's what they all say. So it's a very self-oriented thing, but it's just that all people who are loving, God, light, anything that is uplifting, the universe, people who talk like that, like I swear we are just filled with blind spots, and it's less like blind spots than it is like holes in your light force field. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I mean, I do, but I'm just making stuff up. Oh, I drew it. I never thought I'd share any of this stuff, but then I just got inspired and I did. That's me inside of like a sunshine. And that's, you know, shooting the light out at different points. But there's a better one that summarized it better. Or no, I know what I was going to show you. Yeah. So this is my newest thing I'm trying to heal. So I was very into fitting in, and I was very into self-pity. And I didn't mean to be. I just literally couldn't stop either of those two things. And so my last few years of being youthful, really youthful. I mean, I still feel like a youthful adult, but, you know, kind of outgrew some middle schoolish behaviors with the fitting in topic. And then self-pity kind of was connected to that. They were just both like chains or bow ties, apparently, kind of wrapped around my ankles, holding me down. And now I focus on standing out. Like, it's okay. It's okay to stand out. I'm not trying to stand out. It's just okay to stand out. Like, it's not a bad thing. You might get made fun of, but you also might get hugged or celebrated or high-fived. And you might get different things from different people, and it just doesn't matter. So standing out, soaring, flying, and then also self-love. Self and others' love. Like, genuine. It's the opposite of self-pity. I don't even know what I wrote down there. See the light in everyone. Wish joy and good to everyone. Oh, I think that was the first day that I had figured that out. Oh, yeah, it was right after. And I just posted this on my Instagram. I post stuff about, these types of topics on my Instagram a lot. If you follow me there, it's just Jessica in the Rainbow on Instagram. Or Instagram.com/Jessica in the Rainbow. There was one other thing, I thought. Maybe not. That one I won't tell you because it's just dorky. But I like my dorkiness. Oh, here you go. I haven't posted this one yet. Sneak preview, except these videos are like 3 months behind. Dun, 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 dun. I'll read it to you. Extra stuff. Okay, I'll read it. It's backwards in there, so I can't read it while looking at the screen. I'll read it the way you would read a kid's book. When people see your dreams and say, "Aren't you putting the cart before the horse?" and suggest business plans and seriousness, tell them, "No, you're putting the cart before the horse. Horses are free and wild and wonderful. I'm going to let mine wander for a while before deciding what burdens to saddle it with." And then this was what I was going to put in the caption. Maybe this is where addiction comes from. I mean, that's really heavy. These aren't for kids. It sounds like it's for kids, but I think a lot of adults continue to get treated like children by their parents, Whenever anyone's struggling, other people around them start giving them suggestions. And so I wrote, maybe this is where addiction comes from. We want freedom, lightness of being in a world that takes itself too seriously. And then I also wrote, to all kids everywhere, includes kid-like adults. I mean, maybe I did mean this to kids. I don't know. Maybe I don't know anymore who I'm for. I don't know. Branding is weird to me. Oh, look, I started working on a song that needed fixing. I want to upload my 6th album from the 12 albums in 12 months. It has a really long title. If you really want to understand, you have to listen to yourself. And that includes all the voices wanting to be known by you. And then I think it's also called a day in September 2018, a.k.a. Hey moment, because I was kind of in that power of now type world back then of being really in this now and in this moment, not in the storyline or the length of time. It was just this moment, and which is beautiful and sacred. I do understand really where Eckhart is coming from with that. It's crazy how spiritual I can feel kind of in either place. I guess I didn't mean to sound like I was criticizing the power of now. I guess I do believe in getting extremely present and being in your intense now. I just think that sometimes one philosophy will criticize another philosophy and vice versa. And that Eckhart and some other spiritual leaders sometimes, in order to make their points, criticize other spiritual truths, and I think they get some of it wrong, but that's just my own feeling. This doesn't feel like a guided or inspired thing that I'm saying right now. It just feels like I feel kind of stuck in a thought that is above my pay grade, which is 0. Hi. Anyway, so this was a song from that album, and it was one where the piano cut out, and so I'm going to add some orchestrations back to it. I really do think of it as whatever works for you. I know it doesn't sound like I was saying that. It sounds like I was saying that one leads to good and the other leads to bad. Yeah, let me clarify. Light and dark. I have a song about light and dark. And it's 20 minutes long. It's not released yet. And it's really almost like a heavy, strange dissertation on why the darkness has given me abilities to see in the dark. like going through dark experience gives you, this almost sounds like it's going to contradict what I was saying earlier, but I hope it doesn't. Okay, this is going to sound weird. I only posted about this on my personal Facebook, and I've never written this anywhere else, but my current belief is that light and dark in that yin-yang symbol, even in the power of now, in yogic cultures that believe in like transcending the self, the ego, similar to the power of now, that version of dark. And then similarly, like, you could take the version of light that's like in law of attraction, or what I kind of see a lot of in the Bible about abundance and about light. And if the light and the dark is really just contrast, spinning, swirling, and like I was saying before, light inside dark, dark inside light, like, it's, if all of that is what I think is possible, is sacred, if all of that goes together, like, it's not like one is goodness and the other is Satan chasing after goodness. Like, it's more like one is isness and the other is absence of isness, possibly. And maybe where the power of now comes in is that they're saying, or Eckhart's saying, in that, like, that absencing yourself, emptying yourself of isness, allows more aligned isness to enter your life. More aligned, more inspired, more divined isness. Almost like by emptying yourself, by becoming the bowl, the open vessel, enlightenment, power of now, being really present, meditating, that opens yourself to clarity of thought, clarity and an intention of choice, which would be the light, but going into the emptiness, going in safely, trusting yourself enough, trusting God, trusting light, trusting dark, is how you would receive that, or would connect with that, and feel guided and feel that sense of spirit and that sense of presence. Like this really great tree right here. Like, you know, you can get really present anytime. I make these videos partly as a way of meditating. Like, this is a way that I get present. I mean, you saw me get awkward with these thoughts, so I still haven't said the awkward thing. Light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. Or isness, nothing. Something, nothing, something, nothing, something, nothing. And you have to be empty to receive. If your bowl is full, you're not going to get more. But when you eat what's in your bowl or dump out what's in your bowl, either one, then it can be filled. That's dark. So we're misusing these terms. Like, I'll say it. So I am not afraid of the dark, and that's why I've written songs about it. I love the dark. It's like being a seed and being buried in the ground, and in that complete pitch blackness is where the seed will start to sprout roots, figure out who it is, and start to grow. Right? It's like a baby in a womb, you know? That's dark. Maybe it's what the end of the life feels like. I don't know. Right before maybe some tunnel of light. I have no idea. But what I am talking about, when I'm talking about not falling into, you know, darkness, and I should really be careful not to use the word darkness, because I don't mean that anymore. I really mean something more like, maybe like demons. Like just like how Eckhart, or maybe especially like yogic masters or a lot of Eastern wisdoms might talk about the ego, I believe some of that is like energies, forces, demons, things Maybe some people believe in ghosts possessing them. I mean, all of this is something that I believe is real. The difference between me and someone who is a ghost or demon obsessed kind of person who wants to like study it or be interested in it or says like I like Halloween, the difference between them and me is 100%. It's 1,000,000%. Because the difference between them and me is not a lack of belief versus belief. We both believe in it. The difference between them and me is that I've witnessed people's whole lives go down the drain because they are simultaneously deeply abusive and watching ghost shows all day. Like watching possession shows, demon possession shows all day. And I've watched somebody be obsessed with demonic possession to the point where I wonder if they brought something in our house. So I don't understand a culture that plays around with that. I don't understand people who think that that's funny or no big deal to watch a show called like, isn't there a show called like Satan or Lucifer? That's not no big deal to me. And when I see people casually say things like in hashtags like Hail Satan, and they say that because they think it's funny to mess with Christians, like, you're not going to scare me from a perspective of me being like, oh no, it's going to get me. Like, you are going to push me away from you. It's going to help me understand that we're different, because not because you have different beliefs than me, but because you are willing to mess around with forces you don't understand and think are funny. And maybe you're not understanding the correlation between that and like pure evil in this world. And if you're not understanding the correlations, or if you're even worse, because I've seen this, I've literally heard somebody tell me that they feel bad for demons. Like, what did they really do? So what if demons are like the reincarnated souls just trapped in some place we don't understand in the ether of people who like just killed millions of people or hundreds of people? Like, if you're like feeling bad for a demon, you could be literally feeling bad for Ghost Hitler. So you can't on this physical plane say, you know, no Nazis, punch them in the face for a person who's just yelling, and then be nice to a demon who maybe literally killed people in their past life. Like, you don't know what demons are. I'm sorry. And so this like ghost culture, Halloween love, and all of that, I don't relate to it. I realize that alienates me from a massive fan base. But luckily, I'm an obscure little Mr. Rogers-y ukulele singing, slinging kind of thing. And so, you know, I am not for everyone. I am way too wholesome for most people. One person, a friend of mine, I won't say her because I think she's someone who loves Halloween stuff. She actually said, like, oh my gosh, I can't follow that. After I performed and she was supposed to perform with her band right after me, she's like, well, that was like the most wholesome thing I've seen. And I thought I played a bunch of really dark songs, but they were like existential dark, you know. So I'm starting to learn there's a difference between like dark in the sense of trauma healing and dark in the sense of like loving ghosts and demons and honoring ghosts and demons. So I will not, you know, I'll pray for them. or I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, demons, I don't know. Isn't that past the point of, go read, if this topic is interesting to you, you can read The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis, or The Problem of Pain. I used to think it was my great responsibility to not only be the kindest, nicest person to all physical beings on the planet, but to also be kind and considerate to invisible forces in the world. And that is not my assignment. I am okay with that now. I understand that I don't understand. Like, I don't know what demons are. I'm not going to, like, mess around with that energy. So if you're someone who has, know that it's okay. I did mess around with energies when I was younger. You know, 4th grade sleepovers or creepy things that people do. And then also other times in my life. One of them I was kind of spiritually manipulated. And not like into a cult or anything, but like some creepy stuff. And people are persuasive. And they may convince you to consider things or try things that you don't actually feel comfortable thinking about or considering or trying. And if that has happened to you, you're not lost. You're not gone. You're not forever out of the graces of anything loving or light in this world. You're not. Nothing's beyond redemption unless it wants to be. That's why I don't mess around with demons, because I don't think demons want to not be demons. I think they're happy to be demons and they're messing with people. So, like, that's what I mean. Whenever I'm talking about holes in my energy, I'm kind of talking about, like, people that may have, like, dark forces messing with them and who are spreading some things in the world or in my energy field that I don't want. And then as I'm witnessing those people having those issues, I get frustrated because I don't want to be influenced by those influences that they have. But then I would get frustrated, which is me being influenced by those influences that they have. So my solution, like, again, so it's not light and dark. Dark is just emptiness. Light is isness. Sun, nighttime, lack of sun, right? And then separately, demons. Or something. Something gross. Like something I don't want. Something slicky, slimy, gross. I can feel it on my hands right now. Like, you know? And I know that makes me, like, very, very, very almost extreme. It's not, but at the same time, like, so take like a Sufjan Stevens who talks about his Catholic faith. It's like, this kind of stuff is in the Bible. Like, there's exorcisms. There's things, you know. I took tangents. I attracted things. I allowed things in my sphere, in my spirit. And then I realized what I had done through either exploration or an abundance of openness. You can be open without also being open to demons and influences that are dark. So, and when people talk about like writing out New Age stuff, the secret is not New Age. The secret is like a modern day or a non-religious retelling of how the universe works. It's more like science. It's like invisible energy science. So when people are talking about like, oh no, New Age is some dark thing, it's like, well, I think they're talking about what I was just talking about, you know, like being open to like other gods or Lucifer or something, right? So, and being tricked or being preyed on. But it's hard to sort this stuff all out for yourself. If you have triggers and you have things about your own upbringing spiritually, like maybe people told you to stay away from everything except the Bible, and maybe that doesn't resonate as true for you, because I've actually found that there's a lot of stuff, like for instance in chakras. Like I've prayed about this so many times. There's stuff about chakras that is just saying, you know, this is where we speak from. This is where we feel heart feelings. This is where our confidence lies. That's chakras. It's more like body wisdom, spirit wisdom. Like they don't actually conflict. That's not New Age. Worshipping other deities might be New Age, you know, but even that is oftentimes just other religions and other religions' ways of understanding things. I mean, I don't know. Again, above my pay grade. I wasn't really trying to go this heavy, but I feel like I just gave a lot away, and I just showed my hand. And I'm going to just pray and trust that being as open as I've learned to be is going to be helpful to somebody. And I hope it's you. And if it's not you, that's okay. But yeah, for anybody that I feel is affected by a heaviness or negativity, I'll say negativity instead of darkness, because darkness is beautiful. But negativity, if I see somebody really affected by that negativity, that doesn't even feel right. Like creepiness, like something really bad. I don't know. It's hard to think of the right words. There might not be a word for it. Then I'm just gonna see them as their best self. See them enjoying their day. See them enjoying the world. See them enjoying their own life. Their favorite things. I'm just going to see that in my mind until that's my image of them. Not this other thing they're presenting to me. wish the best for them just the way I want the best for myself, the way I hope they would wish me the best for myself, but they don't have to. I'm going to wish it to myself. Letting go of self-pity. So I wish the best for them, and then I turn right around and I wish the best for myself. And I let them go. And if they come into my mind again, I just do it again. And it sounds like tedious and laborious. Yeah. But guess what else is tedious and laborious? Having leaky energy holes in your sphere of being. Feeling like you're a light and loving person, but the second you're annoyed by somebody, you feel triggered and suddenly feel as negative as they're being. That's like being a chameleon, like a magnet. I mean, giving them the thing that isn't even what you are. You're mirroring back to them the thing that they are, but you're not really mirroring it back to them. You're shooting it out at them almost, because you're like, it's gross. This is just my like sun metaphor, or my Swiss cheese light ball metaphor. It's whatever. This is so weird. I don't know when I got so weird. I feel like it happened during quarantine year. And and then the more I talk, the more I'm like, what am I saying? But like, I just read a lot of spiritual books and just kind of became more interested in things. And I guess I was always really spiritual, but I was never so open about it. I never ever shared stuff like this. I'm trying to balance this. Whoops. So I can write a song. See if it stays. Yeah. I have a tuner in here somewhere. Not that I need to write a song at the end of that much. I need to write a song for myself, and I could just make it a next video, but wow, that is sharp. So I hope this was helpful to you. I don't know if it's helpful for me. I'm not quite sure why I do these, to be perfectly honest. No, wait, I did say why. Didn't I? That these are like a meditation for me. I think it's just after the fact sometimes that it's like buyer's remorse. I think after the fact sometimes I might have like rambler's remorse, where like I shared things that were sacred to me and I let them go, and I trusted that you will hold them kindly, but you might not, and these comments might reflect it. Who knows? If anyone ever finds me later on, if anything I ever create were to become known and people find these, like, people could be very unkind in the comments to the kind of crap I just rambled. So I understand that. And maybe that's the rambler's remorse. That's kind of scary. We're taught to keep all this close to our chest. We're taught to stay quiet. We're taught to not share. But it's like I've had all of these years of like spiritual epiphanies and spiritual observations and ways that I've tried to grow, and I don't want to hold on to them and then just go to the grave, you know. I don't know that I understand why we do that, why we would want to do that, why we don't share it so that other people can grow too. And then if I knew how to do it in more of a sound bites way, like really help people in a sound bites way, not in a 53-minute video, I'm sure I would do that. Like maybe someday I'll do the kids show, kids albums, kids whatever. But right now, I guess that's where I'm at. Happy quarantine. Oh, it's election day right now. Maybe I'm just picking up a lot of really crazy flippin' election day energy. I am a classic empath, and I am an HSP, so if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. Highly sensitive person. There's books written about us. We were usually A students and big old people pleasers. It's classic. Definitely a club I didn't mean to join. Hi, butterfly! Should roll the windows down so the butterflies can come in. If you want to be in a song, come on in. This is a big one. Ah, it smells so good out. There's fall leaves everywhere. sound of a leaf blower, or like construction work. Da 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 da. Open your eyes, put a wall around your heart and mind, and fill up your dreams with light, with the height from God and time and space, like a great space race to the clouds, where the world is known to be finally loud, too loud. It's been too loud here, but not in a good way here. And the birds are singing, and the light is dancing, and my voice is freeing me, and I'm seeing things, and I'm sprouting wings and learning to be all kinds of things I didn't know I could be, and I'm settling down and breaking free at the same time. Did you know I would rhyme with God this time around? Did I know I would be a friend and look around? Did I know I would say your name 10,000 times to make up for the 99,000? Did I know I would speak your voice with my own and learn to be at home inside a song that is never finished, 'cause we're never finished. Never be finished. I'm never finished. So be unknown. You might as well be unknown on a street near where you live, singing songs to those kids in your mind in a future time who find your strange little videos like a treasure chest, like a outer space adventure. What are those things called? Oh yeah, time capsules. Like a time capsule from God to my future self, or to those children I'll never meet, who would never see me on the street. Well, if they did, they would smile at me, 'cause most kids smile at me, 'cause I'm just sitting outside being loud in my quiet way, and it makes them feel safe or great or known in some way. Not known like Stanley, not known like Lady Gaga. That's not the way for me. It's not the way for most anyone to be, 'cause there are millions and we're millions strong. We are the great unknowns. We are the great unknowns, just being loud in a quiet way. All around us, we're the great unknowns. I am the great unknown, and you can feel free. You can be unknown with me, and we can be free together. Be unknown with me. We can be so free. Just be unknown with me, and let those other dreams go to the clouds, 'cause they were like little snakes in your ear, telling you the only way to be real is to steal things, not to borrow time from God, like a love song between a child and their maker, like a love song in time. And now I'm so happy to be alive with my God, with my life, with my Creator watching and standing by and being proud of me for learning to say His name, for being proud of me, for being proud of me when all these times I was never free. I was too afraid to fly, afraid of words like Jesus Christ, afraid of all the ways my cuteness and my light made you afraid of all the ways that my lightness and my cuteness made you feel less brave, 'cause you felt bad about yourself. That's not my fault or problem, so don't feel bad about yourself, 'cause it's a waste of time. I've done it for 20 years. It's a waste of time. It's not what life's about, so don't feel bad about yourself. Why feel bad at all, bad at all? There's goodness in the light, and there's darkness in the good, 'cause there's goodness in the light, and there's darkness in the good, and it's full and it's empty, and it's empty and full, and you are full and you are empty, and you are empty and you're full, and it's okay to be unsure, and it's okay to be alone, and it's okay to not arrive, and it's okay to never make it. It's okay, it's okay. Just enjoy your life and be grateful for what you have. Breathe the air, feel your skin, don't feel bad, feel good, feel brave, feel light, feel unafraid, feel joy, feel life pouring through your veins. Breathe the air, hold on to what you know is true, and when you don't know, just sit in that dark room in your mind until the light floods behind your eyes, and trust that God will find you if you want to be found. This channel is really weird. I don't know what it is. Well, thanks for watching. That was the elephant holding up the phone. I'm in my boyfriend's car. That's his. Alright, there's that cool tree again. My view while riding. Bird's turn. I'm done. I know I took up a whole hour. Your turn. Fast car. Well, the bird got camera shy. Oh well. Anyway, have a lovely day. Oh, here he goes. Come on. Yep, camera shy again. Well, yeah, have a lovely day. If any of this makes you feel heavy or dark or sad, not dark, bad. If this makes you feel bad, throw it away. It's not a big deal. You don't have to think like me. You don't have to believe like me. You don't have to do anything like me. If you are compelled to watch this long, but it causes trouble in your soul and heart and mind, it might not be for you. Or it is for you and you just have some things to work through, because I've had like 10 or more years of things to work through. Things that were so big that they rocked my whole life and caused me lots of challenges. And, you know, maybe that's what some of us need to go through in order to become ourselves. I'm getting lots of text notifications about Election Day. Whew, fingers crossed. Anyway, have a great day. Bye.